Hello ratbags, it's Jade. Here it is, the wildcard rant. This is obviously not where I want to be. Before Genesis releases, I've been trying to hype stuff up. I really want to talk about the positive side of ARK. It's why I've been working so hard on my A to Z guides of ARK Survival Evolved. Really want to generate some feel good factor. And for sure, I've been working on these for a couple of weeks now, and it's really made me appreciate some of the parts of ARK that I really fell in love with. It's really easy to get sidetracked by the negative side of ARK Survival Evolved, the bugs, the glitches, the poor communication. But honestly, going through some of this stuff and researching, getting footage and coming together for the videos, I thought, you know what, there really is no game like ARK. And that's why so many people are passionate. 16 million people have bought copies of ARK Survival Evolved. There are millions, probably more, that have played it for free on Games Pass. ARK is the biggest survival game going, fact. No other game comes close in terms of player base across all platforms, so it really hurts me when I see that wildcards are just incapable of learning from previous mistakes. So what am I going to go on about today? Well, we're going to go about the Valentine's event, about the problems it's caused for a quarter of the player base, and how that may not get fixed now until Genesis comes out. I'm going to be talking today about wildcards and how they should be used in official channels to communicate. I'm also going to be talking about rumours, and we're going to also talk about why some YouTubers get away with lots of rumours, why they're popular, and why other YouTubers really need to put themselves in their viewers' place so they experience exactly what's going on when they're not playing on their 2080 Ti PC master race. So buckle in guys, it's going to be a wild one. So normally Tuesday I cover the community crunch, give you the roundup of everything that's going on, good, bad, interesting. There is no community crunch this week. They put this post up a little while ago saying no community crunch, survivors were gearing up for the next epic adventure, ARK Genesis 1 on February 25th. What are you looking forward to the most? How about a fucking game that isn't broke? If you don't know, if you're an Xbox player, if you're a PC player that hasn't seen some of these issues, Wildcard introduced the Valentine's Day event. Great stuff. Like truly, having something like an event just before DLC launches for people that may not even bother buying the DLC, giving them new items to go and earn, new skins, new emotes, great stuff, well done Wildcard. But that update on February 11th broke the game for PlayStation 4 players. PlayStation 4 make up a quarter, maybe even more of the player base. So there is a lot, is what I'm trying to say, and there are a lot of people that will be playing on Ragnarok because Ragnarok is one of the favourite maps. Ragnarok is the map most affected, but there are reports I've seen from lots of people saying it's just happening randomly anywhere now. Xbox also is having significant rubber banding issues, disconnects too, but it's not necessarily tied into one specific location like it is on the PlayStation. So this update broke that game. It means that lots of players cannot play. If your base is in Ragnarok, you don't want to necessarily go and play on another map if you've got no resources, or you want to just get back to your base so you can feed your dinosaurs. If you don't get back to your base in a certain time, you're going to lose your creatures, you're going to lose your bases, they will start to decay. Wildcard have not announced any plans to extend any sort of decay period, and so people who are on Ragnarok could potentially lose thousands and thousands of hours of progress. This isn't just a case of one graphical glitch or one problem with one creature or an item. We're talking about literally not being able to play the game. So it absolutely astounds me that Wildcard haven't put out any public proper messaging on their official channels. If there's no fix, what will end up being 2 weeks, you need to put that on your official channels, not just some random comments from the community manager. That needs to be the first post, not talking about a bloody paid DLC. You need to have it plastered across your official forums where all this information should always be posted first, not just Twitter. And it should pop up in the game, telling people, warning people, don't go near Ragnarok. It's not that fucking difficult to do what I'm saying here, guys. I'm not asking them to fix their game and come up with solutions for all the problems that are in ARK Survival Evolved. This takes minutes to do. It should be their first priority to keep players informed. Instead, we get their community manager basically trying to tread on water because he's not allowed to say certain stuff. Honestly, I like said, and I don't blame him for some of the issues and problems with communication. When I talk about wildcards or ARK not communicating to the fans, it's not personally him. Although I do think there are some areas he can improve, just like everyone can. What I mean is the people that found the game, the people that are in charge of the marketing, the people that are in charge of the game overall. Jeremy Stieglitz can post and show off his dinosaur he got for Valentine's Day, but he sure as shit can't come on Twitter and talk about the problems and issues with the game right now. Jesse can proclaim he's really working hard and he's coming up for air just to highlight something with Genesis. But fuck no are you going to talk about the problems PlayStation 4 are having. These two men are responsible for Ark Survival Evolved. There are other founders, but these are the public faces. These are the guys that make the decisions. Yes, they've got a publisher behind them that puts pressure on them to make money. All game companies have that. But by and large, they're the ones that come up with the strategies. They're the ones that are going to come up with what's important and what isn't. So they have made it their priority to say that ARK and Ragnarok and players not being able to play on PlayStation 4 is not a priority. What is a priority is people being able to buy DLC. And this isn't the first time, it's not the second time, it's probably about the 200th time, hence why I'm so aggravated. Wildcard just don't learn. They did the same thing with Primitive Plus, totally abandoned that really. They've done it multiple times in other DLCs and maps, just not giving a shit once it's out there. They just don't test their shit enough. And they're not a small team. They've got over 80 members of staff working across Atlas and ARK. They pulled both of them teams over to work on certain parts when they needed. And in fact, Atlas, most of their dev team is now currently working on the Genesis DLC. They have various different sub-studios in Egypt and all around the world that have helped them make the game, port the game and do stuff for them. They are not a small company. They've sold 16 million copies. They've made millions. They may feel like an indie company and the game may feel like an indie one that just grew. But when your game grows, you have to grow too. You cannot just simply stay the same. It's literally like they think this is early access still, that they can just do what they want and it just doesn't matter. And time again I'm proven right with the updates and the situations that happen. They break the game, it takes too long to fix them, and we get no communication really about what the issue is or why it's gone wrong. And we don't certainly get them learning any mistakes, they just keep doing the same shit. So we may get a fix before Genesis comes out, but everything that I've read from the community manager is stressing that that doesn't look likely to happen. And that's another bullshit thing. The DLC has already been delayed twice. It was meant to come out in December, then January and now February. Certification should be done and dusted. You should be literally just applying a update to go live on the day released by now. They're literally going for certification now. So honestly, we could see a situation where it might not actually appear on the Xbox and PlayStation at this rate. If certification fails, we may not see Genesis come out on the 25th on console. There's a whole load of info I could go through and I did do a little bit of a video talking about this. I'll keep it short. Xbox and PlayStation require you to normally submit something a good few weeks in advance. If it's a new game, it's usually a month. No problems or issues in terms of connecting, not just bugs, but connecting to the game, and generally you can play it without it breaking. Then they greenlit it and you can literally start selling it. During that time, you're allowed to add certain hotfixes to things or changes, but only if it doesn't substantially change the game. Hence why there's normally big day one patches for most games. If there's anything too large, they have to resubmit it and go through the process again, and it restarts from day one. So if they're in certification right now, then yes, they might not be able to do anything with the game breaking bugs on PlayStation 4 at the moment. But at least let people know on the right channels. Don't expect everyone to have Twitter and to be following the one community manager. This is why people go to people like Loaded Crisis and me, because I do my best to give you guys proper information and not just filled with loads of clickbait and bullshit and lies. I'd cock up sometimes, I can get stuff wrong, but abide by it, I'm pretty proud of my content over the last 5 years. My art content especially, I try and give you in-depth information based on the history of ARK and based on what I've learned. Loaded Crisis, well, you know, we know all about him. But there is a need, there is a reason he's got 162,000 subscribers, because people aren't getting enough information from the developers. It doesn't matter if his info is wrong or it's clickbait or it's lies, just to get some money. People will go where the rumours are because it's the only source of news they're getting. I jumped into this conversation yesterday between Kudakors, stand-up guy. I've seen him in a few streams, he seems pretty reasonable. He's the guy that does the trailers, designs the website and does a lot of VF work. Someone asked if the event is going to be extended, like that's the most important thing right now. But I guess for some people on PC or Xbox it could be. Saying the rumour says the event is extended, is it true? And Chris said rumours definitely aren't started by us, they must be started by people that have no idea what they're talking about, lol. I always say don't listen to anything unless it comes from us. Well, that would be fine, Chris, if you actually gave the proper information on the actual proper channels. I mean, you design this website, surely you could maybe do something then and list some of the problems that are going on PlayStation right now. So I jumped in here a little bit. I think it's important. I don't think people should be defending rumours, and I don't like the way that some people will literally spread absolute bullshit just for views. But as I said, there is a need for this because people just won't get the right type of info. Amphomia jumped in to defend his boy, I guess, and I don't understand really why. Me and Amphomia have still got a bit of residual beef, but I'm happy to sort it out and talk to him about ARK and wildcards over a nice conversation in Discord if he wants to. I'm not really interested in scoring points on Twitter, and I'm certainly not going to start some aggravation in a video. But I will say this. YouTubers who are pretty big, who play on just PC, haven't got a fucking clue what it's like for other people. You don't have a clue what it's like for players that play on a regular basis on an Xbox or a PlayStation. You're happy enough doing your content for your subset of fans, but really you should realise that a majority of your fans also come from console. So next time a big YouTuber wants to put his oar in and start getting involved, put yourself in the position of the player, of the viewer. See what they see. Then come back and start talking about whether or not it's right or wrong that rumours have started or we shouldn't be following rumours. Bottom line, Wildcard needs to do better. They've had 5 years of this nearly and they still have not got better. They've done exactly the same thing every single time. Whether it's content updates, whether it's DLC, time and time again, each new update breaks the game. They spend way too long trying to get a fix for it and they don't update people enough in the right way about what's going on. Maybe if bigger YouTubers actually put themselves in the player's place and actually highlighted some of these issues instead of literally just going along with wildcards so they don't become in their bad books, then maybe we'd actually get some changes. Judging by the amount of likes and retweets on my comments, pretty much being unhappy with wildcards, I think a lot of you guys agree with me. It may not really apply to you if you're playing your single player and you don't have them problems because you play on an Xbox or a PC. But for fuck's sake, we should all recognise that when a company is doing something pretty shit, and this is what they're doing. They're doing it over and over again, and nothing's going to change unless we keep making enough noise. You can't just submit a bug report and hope that eventually they'll do it. Wyvern eggs and beaver dams have been unspawnable since before Christmas. As I said, there's been no updates for the Switch in over a year. Primitive Plus is broken beyond fuck on the console versions. Lots of the maps are having problems and issues, Valguero particularly again at the moment. We're not talking about small inconsequential problems, we're talking about big issues that affect people's gameplay. But no, wildcards just want to focus on their paid fucking DLC. And then it leaves the question, well, why am I bothering? Why am I bothering to cover a game that I can get so angry over? As I mentioned, when I'm actually doing something decent, when I'm actually enjoying the game because I'm not experiencing them bugs or problems, it's fantastic. It really reminds me of why I fell in love with Ark Survival Evolved. And I want them good times to continue. And each DLC that comes out, I get a bit hyped and a bit excited. But overall, I'm always let down because of the way it launches. And these type of videos don't even make me any kind of real money. Literally, I'll get lucky to get 3,000 or 4,000 views. There's always some dickhead that will say I'm just doing this for clicks, and honestly, it just doesn't get me anywhere. Last year, ARK wasn't even in my top 10 of videos overall. I could be making so much other content on other games, but there is something about ARK that I come back to time and time again. So I just want to make content like my A to Zs and not have to do videos talking about the updates and the brokenness of the game. But I feel I have to because no one else does. So no, I'm not going to stop making ARK content. I'm going to do what I always do. I'll give you the good, I'll give you the hype, but I'm always going to let you know what I think about what they're doing is wrong. I'm there for all ARK players. It's just a shame the actual devs aren't. So there we go guys, if we get any more developments I'll let you know, but don't really expect the problems to be fixed until Genesis comes out. And I'm genuinely really worried that even then they won't be fixed and we're going to have a bunch more problems because nothing they've ever done in previous DLC or updates shows me that Wildcard are capable of making a simple game update that doesn't break it further.